What if everything you've been taught about money is backwards? What if working harder isn't the answer? What if saving every penny won't make you rich? And what if the wealthiest people in the world follow a simple rule that 90% of people completely ignore? This is called the 90/10 rule. Most people have never heard of it. Those who understand it often change their financial future forever. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden truth about money that schools rarely teach, society misunderstands, and most people discover far too late. The great money myth. From childhood, we're told a simple story: study hard, get good grades, work hard, save money, and eventually, you'll become wealthy. Sounds reasonable, but if that formula truly worked, then millions of hard-working people would already be financially free. Yet many people work longer hours than ever before and still struggle. Why? Because effort alone does not create wealth. That's the first myth we need to destroy. The world rewards value, ownership, and leverage, not simply effort. A construction worker may work harder physically than a billionaire, yet the billionaire earns more in a single hour than the worker earns in a year. The difference isn't effort. The difference is understanding how money works. The hidden 90/10 rule. The 90/10 rule says this: 90% of financial results often come from 10% of activities. Most people spend nearly all their time focused on the wrong 90%. They obsess over tiny savings, cheap coffee, discount coupons, small expenses. Meanwhile, they ignore the few decisions that determine their entire financial future: the house they buy, the skills they learn, the people they associate with, the investments they make, the business they start, the opportunities they pursue. These few decisions create massive outcomes. Why most people never escape financial stress. Imagine two people. Person A spends years trying to save a few dollars every day. Person B spends years developing a skill that increases their income by 500%. Who wins? Most people focus on reducing expenses because it feels safe, but there is a limit to how much you can save. There is almost no limit to how much value you can create. That's the secret. Poor thinking asks, how can I save $10? Wealthy thinking asks, how can I create $1,000? One mindset shrinks life, the other expands it. The dangerous trap nobody talks about. Here's a shocking truth. Many people don't have an income problem. They have an attention problem. Their attention is scattered across hundreds of unimportant things: news, drama, entertainment, comparison, endless scrolling. Meanwhile, the few activities that could transform their future receive almost none of their focus. Remember this: money follows value. Value follows skill. Skill follows focused attention. The person who protects their attention protects their future wealth. The secret rich people understand. Look carefully at wealthy individuals. Most don't earn money only from their time. They build systems, assets, businesses, investments, products, content, intellectual property. In other words, they create things that continue working even when they're not. This is where the real power of the 90/10 rule appears. A single good investment can outperform years of saving. One valuable skill can increase earnings for decades. One successful business can generate income every day. A few powerful actions create most of the results. The psychology that keeps people poor. Humans naturally focus on what's urgent, not what's important. Checking notifications feels productive. Watching another video feels productive. Researching endlessly feels productive. But these activities often create no real progress. The uncomfortable actions usually create the biggest rewards: learning, building, selling, creating, investing, networking, taking calculated risks. The things most people avoid often become the source of extraordinary results. The wealth formula nobody teaches. If you want to change your financial future, ask yourself, what are the 10% of actions creating 90% of my results? Which skills are increasing my value? Which habits are costing me time? Which opportunities am I ignoring? What could I build today that continues producing value tomorrow? These questions are simple, but they separate those who stay stuck from those who move ahead. A story about two lives. Imagine two friends. Both start with the same salary. The first spends 10 years chasing comfort. The second spends 10 years chasing growth. The first buys liabilities. The second buys assets. The first consumes information. The second applies information. The first waits for opportunities. The second creates opportunities. 10 years later, their lives look completely different. Not because one was smarter, Not because one was luckier, but because one understood where the important 10% was hiding. Final lesson. The biggest secret about money isn't hidden in banks. It isn't hidden in stock markets. It isn't hidden in complicated financial formulas. It's hidden in focus. Most people spend their lives majoring in minor things. The wealthy learn to identify the few actions that matter most and relentlessly concentrate on them. That's the 90-10 rule. A small number of decisions shape most of your future. A small number of habits determine most of your success. A small number of opportunities create most of your wealth. The question is, will you spend your life chasing the unimportant 90%, or will you find the powerful 10% that changes everything? Because once you understand this rule, you'll never look at money the same way again. And that may be the biggest financial advantage of all.